Eskin. Oh, yeah. Hey, you turn it up, Philly. It's time to roll on the ones and twos, taking full control. From the link to the X, from the sixes to the fields. One voice cuts through, giving you the real. He broke the stories, he started the fire, launched the whole game back in '86, never retired. Heroes crown him, yeah, they call him the king. Fur coat flashing, bling bling in every ring. He's the hardest working, great talking dog. Call in with your tape, but don't get it wrong. He'll call you a nitwit if you're acting a fool, but deep down you love it. That's the Eskin rule. Riding with the king, yeah, we're riding with the king. Howard Eskin show, let the truth ring. Eagles, Phillies, Sixers, Flyers, he knows the deal. Philly sports royalty, bow down and kneel. Riding with the king, put your hands in the air. From South Philly streets to the Delaware. No filter, no fear, just the facts on the mic. It's the Howard Eskin show. Let's go get sight. Hey, riding with the king. Riding with the king. Hey, riding with the king. Riding with the king.
And welcome to the Howard Eskin Show as you're riding with the king. When I say special guest, it's another special guest, but I'm always excited with my guests, but I'm really excited tonight. We'll get to, I'll say Arliss, and you know it's Robert Wuhl. And so we'll get into that. But I want to tell you, first of all, I'm lucky enough to have this show presented by Stillwell Financial Advisors. Jeff Stillwell, the award-winning Jeff Stillwell, very, very good at what he does with financial planning and client service, and that's why he's won the award. 732-343-0813. All right, as I told you, we have a special guest, and to introduce him, I'll just play a little clip of what people think of when they think of Robert Wuhl. Here we go.
My clients know that stars wouldn't be stars without the help of those who make them shine.
Where's Hollywood Squares? Where's my movie? You're a piece of...
This isn't about money, Arliss. It's about ego.
That is absolutely not untrue.
Emotions have no cash value.
You know, if I get you really drunk sometime, will you tell me what happened to you?
Okay, well, I don't know. Hey, listen, maybe he doesn't even have to get drunk to tell him what happened as a kid. Let me bring in Arliss, Robert Wuhl. Thanks for joining the show. It's such a fun show, and it's still on HBO Max, and it's still around. But thanks for joining. That was a fun time. 7 years on HBO. Had to be an extremely fun time for you.
Oh, it was, well, hi, first of all, it's great to see you again. It was. I mean, I got to tell stories, and I had complete control, so I could tell any story, and I didn't have to worry about, because HBO at that time isn't in bed with the NFL or any of the major sports franchises, so I never had to pull a punch. It was great. I could tell any story, and we're making little half-hour. Little stories for about the characters of the world of sports. I was once approached by Fran Lebowitz. You know Fran Lebowitz.
Yep.
Okay. The great author, acerbic social critic. And she came up to me with chain smoking and said, "I hate sports, but I love your show." and I said, I think it's because it's not about sports. It's about characters in the world of sports. Just like any piece of literature is about the characters. It's about characters in the world of sports. It's not about sports. Sports, like Ron Shelton said, the reason most sports movies fail is because they're told from the point of view of the fan. And the fan only cares about one thing, that the team win or lose. He goes, when I wrote Bull Durham, I didn't think about it. I played second base. I didn't know what the fan thought. I knew at second base, I'm trying to keep my job. So that's the difference of storytelling.
Well,
so I was very fortunate.
You know what? You created Arliss, and then you were the main character, if that's what I can call you. I don't know what the official term is. Main character in Arliss. How did that How did that come about? How did you, and then you had to sell it, I guess, to somebody that was going to air it, produce it, and air it. How did that come about?
Well, another Philadelphian, Mike Tolan. He
Yes.
originated. He and
No, Mike.
and David Picker, award-winning producer. They came up with they came up with this thing about doing a Spinal Tap of Sports series, and I don't even know if it was a series then. They pitched it to HBO. We had a meeting on the East Coast, and the East Coast, who really could do their work, immediately turned it over to the West Coast. So they came out to the West Coast to have a meeting, and they told the person in charge, Susie Fitzgerald at the time at HBO, about this idea. And I had a relationship with HBO. I had written a couple of shows for them. I had done I had a comedy special there. I did the young comedian special there. I did comic relief there. So I had a relationship, and they knew I liked sports. And Bull Durham had just come out, and said, yeah, and this is after Batman. So so they said, see if you could, talk to Robert about this, get him involved. And when they pitched it to me, I said, okay, they wanted to do a Spinal Tap of this, Spinal Tap of that. And I said, that's going to grow old very quickly. Plus, I've seen it. I said, what I'd like to do is do a mini series. It was originally a mini series about a sports agent. Sports agents were just coming into the, more stories. This is before Jerry Maguire, remember. Sports agents were coming in. You had Mike Trope, and you had, there was a guy, I forgot the guy from Boston. But nobody, you knew about the Brian Taylor contract as a Yankee, but the sports agent was just coming into, some kind of prominence. Plus, I like business, and I like the world of business, and I like sports, and I thought I could know what I was halfway talking about.
You know what? Arn Tellem was one of the sports agents character, originally from Philadelphia. Now he's out on the West Coast. I mean, I still know Arn. And how did Arn Tellem become kind of the main focus of the agent that you kind of developed, Arliss after?
Well, I got to make a correction. He's in the main focus. At first, when I was writing down names.
Okay, well, you tell me. You tell me.
However, to his credit, Arn was one of the very first guys who would, we would talk to, and he would fill me in on stories. And when he would tell me stories, again, it's about connection. It's human behavior, dealing in situations. It's somebody. The thing about him is, he's a guy running a business, as far as I saw this, except he has a very unique clientele, and a very young clientele for the most part. So their careers, life expectancies are not very long, unless you're a megastar. So I just, Arn was helpful because I looked at a businessman. I looked at a guy who could be very personable. He knew his stuff. He knew the opposition, where they were coming from. And again, it all comes down to dollars and cents. He knew what was important to the athlete, and he knew that each athlete is an individual. And that's very important.
When you did this, obviously there was a lot of athletes that became part of the show, and more and more and more. Let me play a clip, and because he was a young athlete when he was in the show. Let me play a clip from the show. Here we go.
Hey, Arliss, man. Thanks for hooking me up with the Summer Leagues. Great chance for me to know LA.
Oh, my pleasure, Kobe. Kobe, help me out. How do you say my client wants to renegotiate in Italian?
Mio cliente vuole rinegoziare.
Mio cliente vuole rinegoziare.
I knew Kobe in high school. I knew his dad. I knew his grandfather. And I guess most of the athletes were easy enough to work with. When you think about the athletes that you worked with that were on the show, for whether it once or a couple of times, who comes to mind first? And I know Kobe was a kid when he was on the show there. Who comes to mind for you?
I must tell you, Kobe's pretty wonderful in that scene. And not only that's the first thing he ever shot. He had just signed his contract within the week. And so I remember him showing up, and I knew he spoke Italian. I knew he grew up in Italy. So
right.
I could do this routine to him to talking Italian. I thought that could be funny. And he came in and, he signs his $44 million contract back then. And so he comes to this thing and he couldn't be nicer. I mean, he's like you said, he's 17, he's 18. And as we're doing this thing, I see this woman standing off to the side watching everything. I don't know who she is. And I look around for the crew and I talk to the producer. I go, who's this person? He goes, she's the social worker. And I said, what do you mean the social worker? And he goes, that's for Kobe because he has to have a social worker. I went, is this the same Kobe you just saw in a $44 million contract? He needs a social worker? I go, where do I get one of these? So, and by the way, who else is in that scene? You cut it out. You'll appreciate this.
Go ahead.
Talk about people who've had a legendary length of career. Jim Hill.
I know exactly. Jim Hill was a sportscaster in Los Angeles. I know Jim, and Jim knows
Jim
me.
is still working.
Wow. Yeah.
Jim is, this is 96, 97?
Right, 96, yeah.
And he was working for a long time before then. I mean, he's, my hats are off to professionals.
Yeah, I mean, and so Kobe's one of the athletes who, what other athletes were memorable for you that were in the show?
Okay,
obviously,
memorable athletes. That's a wonderful one. Who was memorable?
First of all, let me just ask you this directly. I saw a video clip, and I don't know if it was just a clip of you together, but not part of the show. Michael Jordan. Did you ever do anything with Michael Jordan? Because he's tough now, and I don't know if he was tough when you started doing the show.
I will confess something to you that I've never confessed ever. That's a stolen shot. I mean, it looks like we're together, but that's what makes movie magic.
Wow, that's great. So you never did anything with Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan. Go ahead.
And by the way, his agent, what was his name? Oh my God, a very famous basketball agent.
Why do I not remember his?
Well, you saw it in the movie, Ben Affleck's movie about the shoes. The agent there. What is his name? Oh, I got to look this up.
You know what? It's somebody will come up with it on the chat board. I'm trying. Oh, David Falk. That's
David
right.
Falk. David Falk was the biggest fan of Arliss in the world.
Wow. Yeah.
David Falk. When Jerry Maguire, we did our season first. And then Jerry Maguire came out. Now, remember, Jerry Maguire is a movie, so it took longer to do. But and we knew each other, Cameron Crowe and I. And I didn't know, and I guess we knew it, and everybody. And I paid zero to this day attention about that because I said it's about two businessmen. You're going to tell me there's not two cop shows? You're going to tell me it's not about two? It's like it's two doctor shows. It's like it's a different. They're different. One's a romantic comedy. This is a broader satire. They're different. And Cameron still to this day we talk. But that when you have guys like that with Michael Jordan, no, we couldn't get him.
Yeah, and and David Falk was tough. I mean, obviously I knew Dave. I had a kind of an argument, I'll say, with David Falk. It was in Tahoe, that golf tournament they play every year. So they're in the casino at night, and David Falk is trying to organize the players, and he's trying to be the commissioner of the NBA to organize a strike for the players to get more money. So I said, David, why don't you just do your job and let the NBA, and David Stern was the commissioner. David Stern's a pretty sharp guy. May he rest in peace. Let him do his job. So we got into an argument, and Jordan had to break us up in the casino in Tahoe. But then we got along afterwards. But David Falk was a tough guy. So that's the reason, that's probably the biggest reason that Michael Jordan never made an appearance on Arliss, correct?
No. David loved Arliss. When Jerry Maguire came out, he wrote a whole editorial, and when the people were talking about the movie and everything, and he goes, this could never happen the way it is in the movie. I mean, it's like this guy has a pang of consciousness. And if you remember, Jerry has a pang, and he writes this manifesto about not being for money or something like that, and they fire him because of it. It's like, first of all, if you're the biggest money earner in a corporation, like David Falk wrote, if you're the biggest money owner and you have all these clients, you could write the Communist Manifesto and they're not going to do a thing to you. They're going to let you do whatever you want to do. He says so. And he went on, he picked, he kind of, poked holes at the movie. And then the very last sentence he wrote, If you want to know how the sports agency business really works, watch Arliss.
Well, that's pretty good. Now, Arliss lasted 7 years.
Yes,
And
sir.
I know I had Steve Strippo on the show one time, and The Sopranos was another HBO show that had a pretty good run as well.
Yeah.
How did you, when you started the show Arliss, how, you never anticipate that it's going to go 7 years, but how long did you think the shelf life was for Arliss when you started on HBO?
Well, originally it started as a mini series. It was going to be 5 episodes,
Mhm.
and then the business model. You knew the business model wasn't going to work, so it had to be a series, and I had no problem with that. I was more concerned: am I going to have enough material? I kept thinking of what are the stories going to be. It's like, and that's why you have a staff to help you. But I was worried about what, and then of course, like anything else, it's an organic process. You grow as you learn what the strengths of the cast are, what the strengths of the people you're working with, and what your strengths and weaknesses are, and you've got to find out what the show is. The first season of Arliss is much broader than it's like 6 and 7 or 5 and
Right.
6 or 7, because we evolved. I would change tones in the middle of shows. I would have a show about Alzheimer's and a show about about a ball player, Ed Asner playing the broadcaster who's having Alzheimer's, and at the same time that I'd have a show about the Kirby having to win this contest or something like that to get frequent flyer point. I don't know, whatever. But so you had to keep it funny too. But we had domestic abuse shows, and so I just loved because I could tell the stories.
You know what? You're a sports fan. And I don't know how many did you fill in a sports show on WFAN in New York? Did you fill in at one time for Boomer or anybody up at WFAN?
Oh yeah, I've guest hosted a bunch of times there. I was guest with Craig.
Yeah, I know Craig as well. Yeah.
With Craig, and we did. I think I did it with Boomer once, or maybe I filled in for Boomer. I've done shows with Boomer's charity stuff. But yeah, FAN, it's of course that's big time heyday,
Right.
FAN.
Yep. I know. It was gigantic. All right. So you've done that. You've worked with a lot of sports figures. And again, I'm just trying to think, I watch the show every week. Kobe, you remember, was there a scene that you wish you could have had? Well, you can reshoot it, so it's not like you can have it again. Did you think there was an athlete to say, this guy's really going to be good, and then he wasn't the same? It's not like the guys today; they'll just do anything. It just wasn't the same as you anticipated.
You don't put yourself in that position. Here's the thing. It's the same in sports. Don't put a guy in a position where he's not going to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
Don't suddenly, put Jorge Polanco and Bo Bichette first and third, and never played an inning, and Beatty and Wright, whatever, and expect them to succeed. You don't do that. That's just poor. What you do is, first of all, don't let them carry plot. They're not going to carry the plot. That's not what they're there for. They're there for texture. They're there for texture and to get, with rare exceptions. With Clemens, who I was a friend with, I could push him. And Roger loved it. David Wells, anytime he could curse, it was HBO, he loved it. But the thing about athletes are, if they're a good athlete, more likely they're coachable. And the more takes you do, they're doing reps. And so the more reps they can do, the better they're getting at it. So by, it's, you rehearse it a couple of times, you do it, then they start understanding. They get the rhythm of it. But don't ask them to carry plot. They're there because the car they ordered from the Ferrari dealer didn't show up, and you got to go get it. That's why they're there.
All right. So you've done quite a few movies, and the Sportsman. Did I hear you say that you wrote Bull Durham? Did you write that?
No.
Were you one of the? Oh, okay.
No,
okay.
It's not Shelton.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me play the scene that I love the movie. And actually I saw it. I don't know which, I was going through the channels, and I saw it come up about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And you know what? Once I see it, I said, I gotta watch it again. I must have seen it 5 or 6 times, and I watched it again. But here's a scene that I absolutely, you are so good, and I love it so much. Let me play it for the people, the audience.
What the hell's going on out here? Well, Nook's scared because his eyelids are jammed and his old man's here. We need a live. Was it a live
You guys
rooster?
can hear me back
We need
there.
a live rooster to take the curse off
The
Jose's
dot
glove, and
on the
nobody
screen is
seems
coming
to
from
know
your
what
side.
to get Millie or
Because
Jimmy.
right now I don't have it, and when I wasn't on, I
dealing
didn't
with a
have
lot
it.
of shit.
But when I came on, the dot came on. There's nothing on that one, so it's coming on your
Make
end.
a nice gift, and maybe you can find out where she's registered, maybe a place setting or maybe a silverware pattern.
Okay, let's get to it.
All right. So the candlestick line is the best. It's just, it lives. It just, there's certain things that happen in a movie, certain scenes, and they just live forever. Was that originally in, or did you just ad-lib it? Because sometimes when you do scenes, you kind of ad-lib something. Was that an ad-lib, or is that actually in the script?
That was not in the script.
Okay.
I got to backtrack with you here. This is all Ron Shelton. If you want to read one of the great books about sports and baseball and the movie business, how it works, The Church of Baseball, Ron Shelton's book that came out last year and went to the New York Times bestseller list, is great. It's about a kid trying to chase a dream when he played minor league baseball, and then he had to transfer into the movie business and what's like getting a movie made, and he goes through all of Bull Durham because that was a journey.
Mm-hmm.
What happened, Ron was great, writer, director, and he was an ex-ball player. That's what he was. And he hires me, and he writes about my audition being the worst audition he had ever seen in his life. And he turned to the casting director and said, "That was the worst audition. Hire him immediately." You have to read the story about it. But as I'm there, about a week before we shot the scene, I called my wife and I told her about a dear friend of ours that was getting married. I didn't know what to get him for a wedding present. And my wife said, candlesticks always make a nice gift. Find out where she's registered, maybe a silverware pattern. And when she said, and I thought, okay. And then I don't know when and where it hit me, but I said, oh my God, I got something here. And now we shot the scene, and I have to tell you about that scene. We shot it at night in Durham. It was the coldest winter in Durham. And this is in November, and you could see our breath. It's so cold. It's about 4 or 5 in the morning when they got to that scene. It's the last shot of the night. And the scene as written goes, Nuke LaLoosh's father's in the stands. The first baseman's girlfriend put a curse on his glove, and we don't know what to get to Millie and Jimmy for a wedding present. We're dealing with a lot of shit here. And my character says, "Oh, I thought there was a problem. Okay, let's go. Let's get to it, right?" And we tried it a couple different ways. And then Ron Shelton says, "Okay, last shot of the night. 2 cameras. Robert, I know you've been sitting in that dugout. You got to come up with whatever you want. Just everybody stay in character." And when the line comes, and we're dealing with a lot of shit here, and I said, candlesticks always make a nice gift, or find out where she's registered, maybe a silverware pattern, Okay, let's get 2. And Ron says that's what sells the scene. But yeah, it's become now. For next thing. The studio wants to cut out the entire scene on the mound.
No.
Oh, absolutely. I knew this story. They want to cut out the entire scene, not much my part, the entire scene. And they went to Ron and they said, "It doesn't push the plot." Ron said, "What plot?
Yeah, right.
There is no plot in this movie."
I know.
What plot are you talking about? He goes, "This is the plot." And the only reason that scene stayed in, the only reason, is because when they did the focus groups, when they do the focus groups in the charts, and they ask you what your favorite scene in the movie was, it's always number 1 or number 2. And that's the only reason it stayed in.
Wow. You know what? Let's play for the people again. I want to, and I know I can't spot it, but your mind has to be turning because you wanted to come up with that line. Let's watch this again. And I want to see if I can spot any inkling of your mind turning to come up with that line. Let's watch this scene again.
What the hell's going on out here? Well, Nook's scared because his eyelids are jammed and his old man's here. We need a live rooster? We need a live rooster to take the curse off Jose's glove, and nobody seems to know what to get Millie or Jimmy for their wedding present. Is that about right?
That's right.
We're dealing with a lot of shit.
Okay, well, candlesticks always make a nice gift, and maybe you can find out where she's registered, maybe a place setting or maybe a silverware package. Okay, let's get to.
So Robert, when you're standing there and you're hearing all this, when did that line come into your mind to let it roll?
Oh, I know I'm going to say it. This is what Ron told me to do.
Oh, okay.
I know I'm going to say it. You know, it's not like I thought of it at the spur of the moment right there. I know I'm going to say that. What I like, you know, I don't watch myself much, but I'm trying to. I would think as the pitching coach, I'm listening. I'm trying to understand what the problem is, what's going on, how I can fix it. It's as simple as that. I'm trying to do my job.
You're right. It was great. All right. So you've done, as somebody said, and I'm trying to remember, somebody put up here, I thought the shower scene was pretty funny as well. I don't have that clip. I don't know which movie he's talking about, but I don't remember. Do you remember a shower scene?
Oh, that must be Lollygaggers. That's probably
okay. Okay.
That's what he's referring to.
So it's another movie. So you've been
not another movie. No, that's another scene. The ball players in the showers, and
okay.
Comes in. He starts. You're a lollygagging around the infield, lollygagging. You know what that makes you, Larry? Lollygaggers. You know.
Okay, so Kevin Costner was in the movie, and then you were in another movie, The Bodyguard, with Costner and Whitney Houston. What kind of guy was Costner? You know, when you're working together, you're all trying to accomplish the same thing. What kind of guy was Kevin Costner? If you can share that with people.
Terrific, great. I mean, Kevin, very smart. Really good as an actor, really great instinctive, got great instincts. In fact, he asked me to do the Bodyguard thing. I mean, I'm only in that movie because of Kevin. He says, we need someone to play the host of the Oscars. You know, if you rate the Oscars, you want to do it? I said, sure. So, no, Kevin, I haven't seen Kevin in a while. You know, his career
just keeps on going on and on and on.
Yeah. And you think of, you know, the body of work, you know, it goes all over the place. It really does, from Bull Durham to the Untouchables and the early stuff. Then you see his, you know, the Westerns, Dances with Wolves and Wyatt Earp and whatever, you know, Open Range. And
I remember Tin Cup because as a golfer, you remember Tin Cup, and we all kind of are in that situation at times. You know, I remember, it's funny, and I said to Charles, I caddied for him like 3 years in Tahoe. So there's a hole. It's the 11th hole at whatever, I forget the name of that golf course in Tahoe. And you got to go over water on the tee shot, like 180 yards. And Charles puts it in the water. And I said, he says, give me another ball. I says, Charles, you can drop. Give me another ball. Puts it in the water again. And he holds his hand out. He says, give me another fucking ball. I said, Charles, what are you, Tin Cup? What the hell are you doing here? And he hits the third one in the water. And I said, so I just took another ball out and just threw it to him, put it over. He had a 15 on the hole. And it was like it ruined the whole round. But I'll never forget that. But it's after that movie. So I can't believe, and I never really asked him about it. And next time I see him, I'm going to have to ask him whether he was thinking about that. Jason Kidd was in the foursome. By the way, I hope he gets another job. He just got fired by the Mavericks, which is, you know, they fire coaches. He's a good coach and a good guy. Jason Kidd looks at me, says, what's he doing? I said, Jason, don't ask me. I play with him all the time. This is just, he just does whatever he wants to do. But that had to be, he had to be thinking about Tin Cup when that happened.
I have to tell you something. That's a great story. Thank you, because you can talk about Jason Kidd, who's a coach.
Yeah.
And you asked him a question about Barkley, and his answer reveals a lot. You know, he says, don't ask me. He goes, he's just, you know, what would he say? You said,
don't, this is just what he is. This is who he is.
This is what coaches have to deal with.
Yes.
Except with a superstar too. You know, it's a tough gig. I mean, let's talk sports. I wanted to ask you, now we're both up there, so now we've seen the generations change in him.
Oh, absolutely.
I believe most things are generational. I really do. There's an old line by Aldous Huxley, the author, who says the charm of history lies in the fact that from generation to generation, nothing changes, and yet everything is completely different. I think that's pretty much it. Nothing, but everything is completely different.
You know what's interesting, and there's been coaches that have asked me because they know I've covered and been around sports for quite a while. I won't say which coach it was on the Eagles. One of the coaches on the Eagles said, "What was that guy like? What was that guy like?" Coaches, players. I said, "It's different nowadays than it used to be." Players, for the most part, would listen to their coach or manager. You always had a guy that was, beat by his own drum, and that's never going to change. But they were different people. They were more personable. It's just hard to pinpoint. Like I covered the 80 Phillies when they won a World Series, and Mike Schmidt, Larry Boa, Bob Boone, Steve Carlton was different, but I got along with Steve, because I drove his car back from Florida as a kid, because they used to bring their cars down, so we got to be friendly. But they were different people. They would talk to you like people. Now I don't know that enough players, because the older players are kind of drifting out, and the younger guys are, it's social media. It's once you're out the door, the game's over, or you don't think about it. But it is different. It is different. Like, for instance, do you remember Dallas Green? Do you remember Dallas? Okay. Dallas and I were friends, and manager of the Phillies, and that's why they won the World Series in 1980, because he started yelling at people, and they responded, not because they wanted to hear him yell, but it was such a different vibe. But players responded to that. But you can't have those managers anymore. You can't criticize a player. You can't yell at a player. You can't reprimand a player in today's world. That's what's different. And I kind of miss it. Not that I have to see it, but I miss the human personality of people that were in players back then.
I've heard this before. Susan Waldman tells me she misses the fact that she goes, "I like the young kids before they get indoctrinated into all this stuff."
Right.
Because it's what you're talking about. It's like, first of all, they're making a lot of money. It's like they didn't make, the other guys in the 80s, they weren't, on food stamps. They made really good money, but not like today.
No.
Not like today. It's so that's the way. Plus, they're going into a world, and they've been burned too. They know that the people in the front office, they know they've been burned too. So, and the other thing I wanted to ask, okay, how does the fan? You've gone through Philadelphia. How does the fan, because of much more talk radio and everything, how does the fans changed?
Well, the fan
to 2020.
Here's what's different about the fans. They feel more entitled because of social media, because now they can go on and they think they have a voice because of social media.
They feel more entitled. Why? Because they're younger. Hello? They're more entitled. And you know what they're going to say about their kids 20 years from now? They're too entitled.
But it has to be. It's almost their way is the right way, and they get crazy. I mean, they get crazy, and at a golf tournament, they're yelling Eagles. Golf tournaments aren't. The PGA Championship was in the Philadelphia area. People are yelling, spelling out EAGLES. They're just different. They are different, but social media has really changed these people, and that's why. And some athletes, because of social media, get intimidated by what people are going to say, and they take it very personally. Robert, what was your? I know you grew up in New Jersey. I think you grew up in New Jersey, right? What was your favorite team?
Well, I grew up, right into Manuel Maris. So the Yankees, the Giants and the Dodgers had already left. I didn't know them, but the Yankees. That was the team. But it's funny. I have a motto in life that goes, "Life is always better when the home team wins." And I don't mean that just in sports. I mean it in business, in family, in politics. Life is better when the home team wins. Always.
Yes. Right.
So I rooted for the Yankees and the Mets when they came in. So I was, they were the area teams, and but I love the sport. I like the sport. I mean, I'm a baseball fan, especially baseball. I like great athletes. I like watching organizations being put together. I like people, and it's very hard. Dynasties are so different. Look at your Eagles. I mean, they could win it again next year. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's so different. Things have to break your way, injuries. It's very tough to keep. John Middleton spends money. I mean, no one's ever going
He doesn't go that far over the luxury tax, but I'm disappointed what he did with Harry the K's. Harry was such a legendary announcer, and he took the name off that restaurant because he wanted to sell it for naming rights. So I'm a little disappointed in that. But the guy in New York spends money. Both New Yorkers. Actually, Steinbrenner, he'll spend what he has to, but they've developed a system. But the guy with the Mets. But I remember, and speaking about the Mets, the '86 World Champions. I got friendly with a lot of those guys. They were just regular guys. I still stay in touch with Ron Darling, with Keith Hernandez. Lenny Dykstra's kind of a little screwed up these days, but Lenny, when he came to
these days. I'm sorry, these days?
Oh, I got stories about golf with Lenny.
You've touched on something interesting, which I've always talked about. The emotional contact that sports fans have, sports fans have with a winning player. Because the thing about Lenny Dykstra is the lightning rod to me. Because Met fans will forgive him of anything, and he's hurt a lot of friends of mine that I know. So I mean, it's like, and the Met fans know this, and they know this, but he won. We won. He's Lenny.
Yeah.
So this stuff like that fascinates me. Did you ever see a movie called Big Fan?
Mm-hmm.
The one with Patton Oswalt about
right.
He loves the. I find that movie to be incredibly underrated and incredibly overlooked because that's real. Oh, he's a talk show host and what's his name was on it, Pharrell.
Yeah.
That movie's worth seeing because it's about the mind of the fan and where it goes and this crazy loyalty factor beyond loyalty. It's more I can't even say it's loyalty. It's beyond that.
Well, the Mets fans had to love Lenny because Lenny was a big part of that '86.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The Phillies, he got to a World Series with the Phillies. He didn't win the World Series, but Lenny was he played hard on the golf course. He's hitting the driver out of the rough. I says, Lenny, you can't hit a driver. I can do anything, because as a player, he could do anything. And, he would bet it was Barkley, myself, Rick Tocchet, and Lenny Dykstra. And Charles and I would always play for $10 a hole, birdies or double. So Lenny gets to the first hole. He says to Charles, you and me for $500 a hole. Charles says, Lenny, I'm not playing for $500 a hole. $10 a hole, birdies or double. Lenny stomps around. Lenny couldn't help himself with betting. He bet on everything. So then he says, all right, me and Howard against you and Tocchet, now the coach of the Flyers, you and Tocchet. And he says, $200 a man. We're playing as a team, me and Howard against you and Tocchet. Lenny, I ain't playing for $200. So we're down and, we go through it all. It's like we're up $2,000 on the last hole, Lenny and I. And Charles says, we're doubling. Lenny was doubling throughout the whole match. So I said, Charles, he says, took us 45 minutes to play the last hole because all we were doing is screaming at one another. And Lenny was screaming at everybody. And that's who Lenny is. Lenny was a different kind of guy. I mean, Dwight Gooden back then, he's still a good guy. He had some issues and he's trying to overcome them. And I give him credit for trying to work on that. But it was the players. My point is the players, except for Lenny, maybe, players were different. They were different. And they're playing in New York. And they're really good, nice people. It's just, but the guys today, I guess, are nice, but they're not the same. I don't know. I don't know how to explain that any better. Yeah.
Nothing changes and everything is completely different.
Yeah. So you were a Yankee fan. I mean, how could you not be a Mantle and Maris fan?
I was very much so.
Yeah, and the Yankees now look like they have a good team. Aaron Boone, I knew as a kid because his father was a catcher on the Phillies, so I stayed in touch. If there's an American League team, I'm rooting for the Yankees because of Aaron Boone, and
Well,
it's
that's
just
good.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's good. I think that people who have this blind loyalty because of like Jerry Seinfeld would say laundry. It's like you got to keep in mind. It's about human relationships.
Yep.
Are you going to tell me your son's playing for another team, and when they play your team, you're not rooting for your son? I mean, first of all, you got to remember, and I'm the biggest fan. I got friends friends who are owners of the. All sports franchises are monopolies. Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
It's a monopoly.
It's
That's why they go for billions and billions of dollars.
okay.
You can't get one otherwise.
So you're a New York fan, but a Yankees. Are you a basketball fan at all?
I was, with the Knicks back then, because I right then is my prime is when the Knicks starts winning.
Yeah.
So that and I was a Jet fan. I was a Joe Namath fan.
Yeah. It's usually what the Mets and the Giants, the Jets, or it's a combination. The fans are connected.
Mets and Jets.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's crazy.
Remember, they were both teams from Queens.
Oh, okay. So that was probably a big part of it. But it's just, and the Knicks aren't going to win a championship, but they have a chance to get to the finals. Obviously, they're not going to, because with the other side, the teams in the West are just too good. Is there a football team that?
By the way, I would agree with you. They'll be big favorites. The San Antonio and the Knicks played 3 times. New York won 2. Just to let you know.
Okay.
They're a better team, the other teams. I would agree with you. It was like the way I felt about the NFL and the Super Bowl this year. Whoever made it from the AFL wasn't as good as the NFL team.
Okay. Well, when you brought up money, one of the guys I thought of, when Wemby gets a new contract with San Antonio, he's going to make over $80 million a year. There's no question in my mind. And there'll be a player someday within the next 3 years that makes $100 million a year. And that's just, what are you going to do with all that money? I mean, when's enough? So that is.
You're complaining about, do you complain this way about people in business?
No. Well,
no. So why are you complaining about somebody who's working?
Well, yeah, but
$100 million is okay, but $25 billion over here.
Yeah, but the fans end up paying for it. That's probably where my issue is, because
don't worry about the fans. No, the fans don't want. They pay some of it. They pay some of it. We pay some. The other side. You know where they get, because of all these rights? Because it's a monopoly.
Well, and that's what's going to. The NFL is going to be mostly streaming, because the networks are already losing money with the money they have to pay for the NFL product. They're losing money, and it's going to be a point where it's a lot of streaming right now, which is not. I don't know that that's fair for the fan, that the people that just can't afford to have all these different streaming services. But that's another story. Streaming is a big part of what we do. Before we go, I've got to. People talked about Good Morning Vietnam as a really, really good movie, but beyond that, I got it. How did you get in a Madonna music video, Material Girl? How did that happen?
Good question. What happened was I was working as a comic. I had done 1 or 2 movies, but I wasn't. Nothing was happening really. And Mary Lambert, the director, saw me at the Improv and cast me in the movie. And I got to ad-lib that entire part. And I met Keith Carradine there, who was wonderful. That's how I got it. I mean, I was just very lucky.
Yeah.
And it's Material Girl, which became, that's like having, a Bond movie.
When you're in those music videos, you probably don't even meet the singer, right? Did you meet her? Oh, yeah. How was she okay?
Very briefly, hi, hello.
It's just, some people are just.
Oh, Keith and I, in fact, Keith did Arliss for me.
Oh, she was in Arliss?
Oh, Keith Carradine.
Keith Carradine. Oh, okay. No, it's just, Robert, you've had a terrific career. You're funny. Just in talking to you, I can tell that the energy you have and the humor you have and the fun that you have, you can't, if you're not having fun doing your job, then there's something wrong. But you got to have fun. Sometimes it's, there's some work involved, but fun was probably the biggest part of what you had when you did all the things you did. Yes.
Well, I went into this business that way. I mean, I just my father. You talked about your father with the car business, the body shop business. My family had a very successful produce business that's still around today. Wuhl Brothers Schaffman Corporation, and to this day, I mean, my family's not involved in it anymore, but it was very successful. But I had from the get go, I wanted to be in show business. So.
Two of the people in Arliss, Sandra Oh and Michael Boatman,
Right.
and they've been in other things. How much fun were they to work with?
Everybody got along really well. I mean, it was a terrific thing. They had freedom. I mean, Sandra Oh, I cast because a lot of the people at HBO didn't really want me to cast her, and this is the first thing she did, pretty much. So I had seen a movie she was in. I loved her energy. And I said, there was another actress, fine actress, who had her own series later. And I said, okay, I mean, I know you can go this way, but I know what I'm going to get, I think, which is going to be good. I go, but with her, I'm not sure what I'm going to get. And I like that idea. And also, I thought this was important, especially with Boatman too, was that I thought it was very important to have diversity in the cast. Mostly because he's a sports agent. He goes, and his clients are going to be of great diversity. I think it would be hypocritical not for him. It would be bad business for him not to have diversity in the office where people came in. And I love the idea of having a black Republican at the time with Michael Boatman being business person. I like the idea. I like to it's about the characters, because I had one guy from the Lee Steinberg story. What was the quarterback he had to start his career? That's the story. That's basically the Jim Turner's backstory.
Well, he had quarterbacks were his forte.
It was something like Darnowski or Kakowski or who was it? Went to Cal, I think.
Grakowski. I don't know.
He was a quarterback from Cal. But anyway, but that's where the Kirby thing. And then I needed a girl Friday. I had to, that's just, you are doing a TV series. And
right.
I wanted someone who's smart and is, probably, that. And the other thing that was important in this show was no voices of reason. Everybody is, what's the word I used? When you're part of something,
But that's all right. I mean, and the movie we didn't mention, and it's in the background there, Batman, another classic movie. To get parts in these things, you got to be honored to be a part of especially a classic like that as well.
Well, Batman at the time wasn't a classic yet, but it was. I'm very lucky. I mean, I got to work on these projects and with these incredibly talented, creative, crazy people. And I was old enough when we did Batman, because how old was I? I was about 35. So I was old enough to appreciate what was going on, because we shot that in London. And so I was 4 months in London on Batman per diem, which is good.
Wow.
And I got to go to work, a lot with Jack Nicholson and Michael Keaton, who I knew. Michael I knew from comedy, and Tim Burton, and see, nobody knew at that point. Batman's the most expensive movie I think ever made, and it's and they're scared because Tim Burton's vision is much darker than the old Adam West series, which I was not a fan of. Mm-hmm. And by the way he was doing, I knew this was going to be special. I knew it was going to be special. I didn't know how big it would be. I didn't know if it was going to. I thought it would work because the script was good. When your script is good, it takes a lot of pressure off. And it was cast. The old story: if your script is good and it's cast properly, 90% of a director's work is done.
Jack Nicholson. It's an interesting. I had him on my radio show, crazily enough, and I had him on because he was such a Lakers fan. Mm-hmm. And it was in the '80s. Was the early '80s? They always played the Lakers in the finals. And I had Jack Nicholson on. I forget, a friend of mine who knew him, got him on the air for me. And, when you're young like that and you hear a guy on the air and he sounds the same as when he, went in, most of the movies, it's Jack Nicholson. but we were just talking about sports and we got right into it
Right.
about the Lakers. And he was just, a regular guy when it came right down to that. It was really, one of his movies, that's one of them, but there's so many of them. I know A Few Good Men is always on one of those movie channels. And that one scene with him and Tom Cruise is another classic scene. It's just,
That's Aaron Sorkin. That's Aaron Sorkin.
Oh my gosh. It's just, the business is interesting. And I'm sure my son that's, a part of that business working for Disney out in California, but I'm sure he sees a lot of it, but he treats it as work. He's not an actor. He treats it as work, but when you're in there, you feel it. Yeah. It's a good fit. Hey, Robert, I had a lot of fun. I enjoyed it thinking about the old things. Candlesticks a good idea. I'll send you some candlesticks, even though it's not your wedding. Robert, thanks so much. It's fun. And to let people know, if they want to watch, there's some people that listen now that, well, maybe they didn't see Arliss. I'm telling you, it's a fantastic show. It's streamed on HBO Max. I think it's on YouTube, Hulu, and Amazon Prime as well. But it's on. I looked it up, but it is on HBO Max. You got to watch it. It's funny as hell, and it's great, and you do a great job. And it worked. And that's what when it works, and everybody kind of feels it the same way. That's why those shows are good. Robert, thanks so much. I really appreciate it.
Be well, my friend.
All right, I'll talk to you later. Take care. Robert Wuhl. And those people that never saw Arliss, you got to watch Arliss. You got to watch. It's a funny show. It's based on an agent, but he's funny. And you can see the personality that Robert Wuhl has. You can tell that's who he is. What you saw is what he is in that show, Arliss. And it went for 7 years. On HBO. It's one of those series that really was received very well. All right. I also, besides thanking Robert Wuhl, I want to thank Jeff Stillwell for being our presenting sponsor. Jeff, award-winning should I say financial greatness? Maybe I'll say financial greatness. He really helps his clients extremely well. Jeff Stillwell, he can help you too. Financial planning, that's what he does. And that's why Ameriprise Financial awarded him with the Circle of Success Achievement Award. Jeff Stillwell, 732-343-0813. Also, I want to tell you about Thomas Chevrolet. Thomas Chevrolet, they got some new vehicles that come in all the time. And then if you want to pre-owned, they have pre-owned. They have new vehicles. They still have incentives going on. For many of their vehicles, financing as low as 2.9% financing. Actually stop by there today. Just talk sports, talk about vehicles, what's going on. I just try to stay on top of all those things. 1263 West Baltimore Pike in Media. They do a great job with service. The Corvettes, pre-owned, new, great job. 1263 West Baltimore Pike in Media, or give them a call at 610-566-8600 or thomaschevy.com. Also, Piazza Property Pros.
This is what they came to us with, and this is what they got.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah, Piazza Property Pros. You see that? That could be your backyard. That could be your backyard. They take it from what it was to what it can be. And that's what Piazza Property Pros does, whether it's pools, whether it's fencing, whether it's landscaping, hardscaping, whatever it is. You can see a before picture there and an after picture. Pool maintenance, they can do so many things to make your house look beautiful. 25 years of experience. Piazza Property Pros. Give them a call at 610-566-2608. You can schedule a free consultation at 610-566-2608 or piazzaoutdoor.com. All right. Let me recognize our winner from the last show. And they won a pack of a box of unopened top 75 Series 1 baseball cards, courtesy of Fanatics. If there's anything you want sports wise, Fanatics has it. And Noreen Roush. Noreen, you were one of the people that submitted the correct answer, and you were selected at random. You are this week's winner. And this week, we're going to have something a little bit different for all you sports fans. Everybody likes to wear hats. Got 3 hats for you. It's all one prize: the Flyers hat, the Eagles hat, and the Phillies hat. Submit your answer, and I'll give you the question coming up shortly. Submit your answer to my contact page at howardeskin.com. We'll give you the winner on Friday. Well, you have to submit it by Friday, this Friday, May 22nd. The show on Saturday. And let me just know, if I don't do a show on Saturday because it's a holiday weekend, and there's probably a good chance that I won't do a show, so people can just enjoy your Memorial Day weekend, I'll do it on the next show. I'll announce the winner on the next show, live on X, Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. Winner will be randomly chosen from all the correct entries. All right, some things really I got to talk about. The Sixers, everybody wants to know who are the candidates to be the new president of basketball operations? I don't know who they're candidates. Well, I do know. I know a lot of names. I don't think any name will knock your socks off. So does it make any difference? The problem with whoever's coming in, whoever is coming in has a job ahead of them. They're stuck with Embiid for 3 more years. Paul George at least 1 more year, and maybe somebody will take him and you could dump him. But you're at least 3 years away from even being a contender to get to a conference final, not a championship. And that's on the good side. So does it matter? Does it matter to you? Does it really matter to you who that person is? You just want it to get better, and you want them to make good selections. And by the way, Daryl Morey took VJ Edgecombe. That's his only good pick, because Maxey was not his pick. It was Elton Brand. And I reiterate that. The Sixers, I was told this week, wanted Ace Bailey, who went to Utah, the 4th pick. Now, Edgecombe looks like he's going to be a very nice player. Ace Bailey will probably be a nice player. But they wanted Ace Bailey and not Edgecombe. But Ace Bailey didn't want to come to the Sixers. So, he kind of let his agent let the Sixers know that. So that's part of it. I mean, the Knicks have done a great job. Their whole starting team, and Billy Cunningham mentioned that last week, their whole starting team is trades. It's not draft picks. They traded picks. They got players. They really, really, really have done a nice job. All right, let's touch on the Phillies. I liked Rob Thompson. I do like Don Mattingly. I like both guys. Both guys are good baseball people. Again, it's analytics that kind of guides everything they do. But I reiterate again, Cincinnati, and they've lost in a 3-game series. They won the first game and lost the last 2. Without home runs, they have trouble scoring. This is going to be their problem when they get into the better teams, and certainly if they make the playoffs. And you can't live on just a home run. You got to put the ball in play. You got to do other things. And and Cincinnati's a good team. Their record doesn't show that I think they're a better team than their record. They're 2 games over 500. But they're better than any of the other teams they played when they changed the manager. Changing the manager means nothing, is nothing. It meant nothing. It's they changed the manager when they were playing easy teams. Are the Phillies doing anything differently? Yeah, they're getting some key hits, but they're playing bad teams who most of the time have bad pitching. They had 3 hits in one of the games against Cincinnati. How do you only have 3 hits? If you're a good team, you got to have more than 3 hits. And the only run was scored on a home run. That's the way they score. So again, you get your hopes up, and that's fine because you're a fan. You get your hopes up, but in the end, it's just there's pieces that are missing from this team, and I don't know what they can do at the trade deadline. Alec Boehm is starting to hit, but I don't think you can trade Alec Boehm because Aiden Miller, who was going to be their third baseman, is hurt again. So does he have a chronic? Is he going to have chronic injuries? That's the issue. That is really the issue. So we can always say we'll see. And Trey Turner is just not. He's a great guy, and he's a good player. He's not worth $300 million, but hey, Bryce Harper wanted him, so that's why John Middleton signed him. So I wonder. And right now, the way I look at him, they're just not. I don't know if they're good enough to make the playoffs. So we'll see. I'm trying to look at some of these comments here. Phillies are going to start playing better teams. Yes, they will. When they play better teams early in the season, they weren't very good, and we'll see what happens. Here, Brian said, "Glad you're live on Facebook." I think we're live on Facebook every week. And somebody says, "Players deserve the money." Oh, really? What do you want the owners to do? Have it all? Okay. Well, no, but the owners don't play the game. And if the players played hard all the time and didn't have the attitudes that they have because of the money, then I wouldn't care. But that changes people. I see a comment now. How would he handle Joel Embiid? He'd just say, sit the bench, but you can't do that anymore. Another person here liked Robert Wall in Good Morning Vietnam. That was with Robin Williams, who was a strange guy in life. I don't know how he was. I didn't ask him about that. Compliments on the show. Robert Wall is a great guy. What a great guy. He didn't even hesitate when I asked him to come on. So I'm glad you enjoyed it. Somebody said my favorite interview. Great, Robert Wall. I'm a fan. Seen you in a ton of stuff over the years. Gene Hackman is still my favorite interview Howard did. And I did Gene Hackman, crazily enough. I did Gene Hackman on the radio. I forget what was happening, but Gene Hackman, what a great actor. But Robert Wall, I'm telling you, he could do anything and really make it work. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad people have weathered the storms. I weathered the storm. I worried about losing my power and all the other things to make it happen, but we got through it. It's great. And I was really excited to have Robert Wall on, and it sounds like you enjoyed it as well. Again, all right, I'm going to make the decision now because it's a holiday weekend. We're going to take off on Saturday. So we're going to have to wait for our Arthur update until the following week. And I'll get, and Mark Lawrence will get primed for some more trends as we get closer to the season, some more things that he can come up. So we'll take Saturday off and just, you enjoy your weekend, even though the weather may not be that good, but enjoy it. It's a holiday, and I'm sure most people have Monday off. So enjoy the weekend. Enjoy Memorial Day weekend. All right, let me give you a question to win those hats from the Flyers, the Eagles, and the Phillies. Who did Robert Wall say was his favorite team when he was growing up? Who was his favorite team growing up? I'm not even going to tell you the sport, so you're going to have to work for it a little bit. So if you get the answer correct, submit it to my website, howardeskin.com, and go to the contact page. Winners will be selected at random. And because we're going to take Saturday off, we'll announce the winner. You got plenty of time to go listen back to the show if you want to listen to it. And we'll announce the winner next Wednesday the next time we're on. So enjoy the weekend. If something crazy happens, I'll do it won't be an emergency one. I'll do a show on Saturday morning. But if something crazy happens, but enjoy your weekend. So, and all the people that I work with have great Memorial Day weekend. Joe Gangemi, who does the technical side, Tony Anastasio does the graphics and the website. Enjoy your weekend, Memorial Day weekend. You enjoy it. Thanks to Robert Wall. Thanks to you for listening. And I suggest if you haven't seen Arliss, you missed a good show. It's on HBO Max. You can still watch Arliss. It's available on HBO Max. It's a great, great series, and it's funny as hell. And I guarantee you, you'll enjoy it. Have a great night. Have a great holiday weekend. Endure some of the weather. But again, I thank everybody for riding with the King and joining me on the Howard Eskin Show.
Yes, K-I-N. Oh, yeah. Hey, you turn it up, feel it. It's time to roll on the ones and twos, taking full control. From the link to the X, from the sixes to the fields. One voice cuts through, giving you the real. He broke the stories, he started the fire, launched the whole game back in '86, never retired. Heroes crown him, yeah, they call him the king. Fur coat flashing, bling bling in every ring. He's the hardest working, great talking dog. Call in with your tape, but don't get it wrong. He'll call you a nitwit if you're acting a fool, but deep down you love it. That's the Eskin rule. Riding with the king, yeah, we're riding with the king. Howard Eskin Show, let the truth ring. Eagles, Phillies, Sixers, Flyers, he knows the deal. Philly sports royalty, bow down and kneel. Riding with the king, put your hands in the air. From South Philly streets to the Delaware. No filter, no fear, just the facts on the mic. It's the Howard Eskin Show. Let's go get sight. Hey, riding with the king. Riding with the king. Hey, riding with the king. Riding with the king.